Alright, so this video is going to help you make a histogram. Again, you're dealing with your day 5 assignments here, looking at the histogram. So again, you're going to deal with your numerical data, so I have it listed from least to greatest, otherwise you can click on this little arrow here to sort it from A to Z, or if you're doing the mobile version, then you can just click on that pull-down menu and sort it that way as well. Or just click on the question itself and it sorts it for you. But anyways, I have sorted it. I have 120 pieces of data from our survey that we did the other day. Let's take a look at my iPad. Okay, so I have created a histogram here for you. Some unique characteristics of a histogram. Okay, the bottom. Rather than just having, this is much different than a bar graph. Okay, a histogram has a range. Notice this is a range. This doesn't, unlike my line plot that I showed you in the other video, the line plot has each number by itself. Okay, my histogram actually has a range. This would represent like 0 to 5 hours. So as you can see here, I have 61 people that said between 0 and 5 hours on the internet. Okay, and then I have 5 to 10 hours. I have 41 people. 10 to 15 hours or 16 people. And 15 to 20 hours, I only had 2 pieces of data. Now you notice here I have 61 people that said 0 to 5 hours. Now how did I get that information? Well, I looked at my data here and I started counting here. So you see that this first 1 value is at row 2. Okay, and then I went all the way until where my 5s stop. Okay, so this is my last 5, and it would be 62. Okay, so again, row 2 all the way to 62. So that's 61 pieces of data. Okay, so you don't necessarily do 62 minus 2 because you actually lose the data there. That would only be 60. We do have that extra piece of data, that's 61. What I did, because I'm working on a computer, I was actually able to highlight all of these, and then right over here it says count. It says 61. So that's kind of how I did it there. With your iPad, you're going to be able to see, just be able to count. Again, I have 120 pieces of data. You only have about 30, so you can just count them up. How did I choose my range? Well, my intervals. Okay, I call these my intervals down here, my 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, and 15 to 20. Well, I knew that my smallest number was 1, and I saw that my biggest number was 17. So you always kind of want to keep them, I like intervals of 5 for that. When you're going from 0 to 17, or 1 to 17, I thought, well, I can go 0 to 20, and I can do 4 groups. So I can do 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, and 15 to 20. So you're going to have to kind of decide on your intervals down here, what you want to use for those intervals. I would recommend having at least maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 bars in your histogram. Other unique characteristics of a histogram. Notice how my bars are touching. Okay, let me show you an example of a bar graph. Okay, see the bar graph? The bars are not touching. So that's a definite, distinct characteristic between a bar graph and a histogram. In a histogram, your bars are going to touch, and the reason they're touching is because the intervals down here are almost like running together. Because it's 0 to 5 and then 5 to 10. Now, if it was a 5, I counted it in this column. However, if it was a 5.5, I counted it over here. All right, so I could ask you questions like, how many people spent more than 10 hours on the internet? Well, I would count 16 and 2. I would say 18 people, okay? Also, a characteristic of a histogram is your label on the y-axis is always going to be frequency. So, meaning like how many people. Frequency means how many. So how many people said 0 to 5? Well, 61. I always like to put a number at the top. This isn't necessary, but I would like you to include a number so I know exactly what the data value is. Now, how did I get from 0 to 70? Well, 61 was my largest, so I just said, well, I'll just go to 70. I could have went to 65, I guess. And then I divided, 0 to 70, I divided that in half, which is 35. So I marked 35 in here. Now, half of 35, that's, right around about 30, 32. I said 32 divided by 2 is 16. So half of 35 is, maybe close to 16, 17. So I just said 16. And then I added 16 to 35 to get another number in there. So, you kind of have to do some thinking about what your numbers are going to be. Again, you can do this on any writing app. I did it on Explain Everything, so I can make a little video. You just need to take a screenshot of it. Okay? And again, the questions that we can ask from this are things like, well, how many people spent at least 5 hours on the internet? At least 5 hours on the internet. So I would count 41, 16, and 2. So 41 plus 16 is 57, plus 2 more is 59. So I'd say 59 people were online for at least 5 hours. So I wouldn't want to count any of these because these could be lower than 5 hours. So the thing is about a histogram is I can't tell exactly, of these 61 people, how many said 1, how many said 2. I can do that pretty easily by looking at a line plot. How many said 1? 3. How many said 1.5? 2. Okay? But a histogram is nice to kind of give some generalizations with these intervals. Kind of gives us an idea, okay, kind of how I said before, with the line plot, we had a cluster between 3 and 7. But here I can see, wow, we have a lot of people between 0 and 5. We also have a lot of people between 5 and 10. So there's kind of that 3 to 7, it's kind of meshed in here together. All right, so again, once you're done with this, you'll take a screenshot of your histogram. Be sure to label it, number of hours for me over here and frequency over here. Make sure you give me your intervals and tell me a little bit about your histogram. So do the screenshot there. Then you're going to go to your website, and on your histogram, you'll click in here. You'll click Insert. You'll go Document, and then you will do Upload Photo, and you will grab that picture from your iPad and insert it right in there for the histogram. Okay, so good luck making your histograms. I can't wait to